Okay, first up, Teddy, why did you decide to leave Tottenham in the first place? And also, what was Alan Sugar's response at the time?
Straight in, eh? Straight in for the nitty gritty. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Why did I leave Tottenham? Why did I want to leave Tottenham? I didn't think the club were as ambitious as I was at the time. I think they'd had their fingers burnt with buying Klinsmann and Popescu and Dimitrescu, and then 18 months later, all of them had gone. And I didn't feel that the club were buying the same calibre of players, and I wanted to play with the best players in the world. I didn't want to leave Tottenham. I wanted the best players in the world to come and play with me, but that was obvious that wasn't going to happen. So we're in negotiations about a new contract at Tottenham. I asked the chairman if what type of players he was going to be buying, and he says nothing to do with me. So we ended up having a row, and I said, well, I think I better leave then. And he said, in a bit uncertain, not quite these words, but he said, yeah, go on then. And I said, I will. And he went, well, go on then. So I put in a transfer request, and luckily for me, that summer, Manchester United made a bid and it was accepted by Tottenham.
And that summer, were you close to joining Liverpool? And then how did the Man United move come about?
No, there was when people heard at the end of the season that I was unhappy and I'd handed in a transfer request. Newcastle were interested, Liverpool were interested. That was the only two clubs that I knew that were, having a look at the situation. I didn't ever get close to signing three of them. I think I spoke to Roy Evans and his chairman at the time, I think. It was around that time I spoke to him, and it might have been, I'm not sure. It was around that time, anyway. I can remember speaking to him, and it didn't happen. So when I came back and realised that the move was going to happen, I thought it would be the Newcastle or Liverpool. But then when I found out it was Man United, I was overjoyed, obviously.
And you'd obviously already played with some great players beforehand, but what was it like going into that dressing room?
Yeah, I already knew a few of them from the England setup. Gary Pallister was there. Gary Neville, I think, might have just started. Yeah, Gary Neville was there. David Beckham, Scholesy. There was a lot of players that I knew already. Plus playing against all these players as well. I mean, I was 31 by the time I went to Man United. So I'd played against all these boys. I played with Roy Keane before at Nottingham Forest. So there was nothing untoward for me going in there.
And did you feel sort of the pressure of replacing Cantona a bit difficult?
No, not at all. No. When I joined Tottenham, Lineker had just left and I took his number 10 shirt. When I came into the England setup, Peter Beardsley had just kind of retired or was on his way out, and I took over that sort of role. So going into Manchester United and Cantona just leaving, it was just, you've got to take the positive out of these things. And Sir Alex Ferguson wanted me to sign for his football club. So I thought, fantastic, that would do for me.
So, and how did you find that first season? Were there sort of any worries after going trophless?
The first season, the first 2/3 of the season, we were absolutely flying. I don't know. Are you a Man United fan?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, got you by your accent. We were absolutely flying and things were going well. It was. I don't know if you remember the season, but we had all around the end of January, early February, we had Keane had already done his knee. Then Giggsy got injured. Schmeichel was injured and Pallister was injured. Pallister had his bad back. I think Giggsy had his hamstring problems. And I think Peter had a bad back as well. And that was four of our biggest players. And we didn't have a squad like they do now. You can't call on another top quality centre half or top quality left winger. There was squad players coming into the fold, and it was an important time. And we got knocked out of the Champions League. And Arsenal got on a run and we had a couple of little blips in the league and ended up losing out. But, the first, up until then, the season was we were flying. So didn't seem a problem. So when we didn't win anything at the end of that season, I was very disappointed because I'd obviously put it out there that I wanted to leave Tottenham to win things, and that's why I was going to Manchester United. And I had it rammed down my throat that that wasn't the case at the end of that first season.
Yeah, I was just going to mention there's obviously that famous Arsenal chant. Was that sort of give you a bit more extra motivation as well, those sort of critics' comments?
I don't think you need any extra motivation when you're playing for Man United, but I also know that if I say things and they don't happen, then the Arsenal fans were going to give me a bit of stick for it, and that's how it works. Isn't it?
And how did you feel sort of when Dwight Yorke came in that summer after? And was it sort of, how difficult was it to keep 4 strikers happy? Because you think about it now, you don't have 4 strikers at a football club. No,
well, it was probably the first time. I mean, I don't know. I think whether it was me being pig-headed or what, but I didn't feel that Yorkie was coming in to replace me. I thought that I could still be the main part of the strike force. I know there was Andy Cole and Ollie Solskjaer as well there, but I just felt that I was quite happy with my abilities, and I kept faith with them and always have. So it was only when and I think I did play the first few games, or I can't really remember, but there was chopping and changing. It was only when Yorkie and Coley hit it right off that became the main partnership, and they worked well. One came into the hole, and one went beyond, and that was it worked perfectly. They had a fantastic season in 98-99.
So during that season, were the players sort of thinking about the possibility of a treble, or was it just sort of carry on as?
No, it was never really spoken about, because I think the club had been in very, very good positions previously, and probably the 3 or 4 years beforehand, and everyone's talking about quadruple and trebles and all that, and you end up missing out on bits and pieces, and you end up winning just the FA Cup or just the league. And so we all knew that that around January it's going to be spoken about, but if you're still in all those competitions come the end of April, then you can start talking about it. But even so, even then, it wasn't really, I think, it wasn't spoken about. The manager made it quite clear that it was all about winning the next game and being involved in the next game after that, and doing what you had to do, keeping our feet on the ground.
I think going to the end of that season, you started on in the FA Cup final. You started on the bench. What was it like, sort of coming on so early and then getting that goal as well?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their own story about those 11 days. First of all, I was very surprised to be starting the last league game against Tottenham. We went 1-0 down, got back into it 1-1. I got booked just before half time, and the manager changed it. So I'd gone from delight of starting the game against Tottenham, a game we had to win the league, and then coming off and being brought off and being very unhappy. But the team winning and the club winning was, I'd played my part, not as big a part as I wanted to that season to win the league, but I'd finally got a winner's medal in the Premier League. So I was delighted. And then when I didn't start in the FA Cup after starting on the Sunday, I was very disappointed, but things changed very quickly after 6 minutes when Roy Keane got injured, and the manager turned around to me and asked me to get ready to go on. And I was even more shocked then to think it was me going on for Keane, but he shuffled the team around. He obviously had views on Wednesday night's Champions League final, and he wanted to save some legs for then. And within a minute of me going on, I'd scored the first goal in the FA Cup final. So, amazing turnaround. That's what happens in football sometimes. And then set up Scholesy, got named man of the match in the FA Cup final. And I thought, do you know what? I must have a chance of playing in the Champions League final now, surely. But things changed again on the Tuesday when he told me I wouldn't be playing.
I was just going to ask, actually, sort of, did you expect to be in the 11, and sort of how did you react when he told you that you wouldn't be?
Well, after, you've got to go on current form, but I think he'd known he'd known probably 2 weeks previously how he was going to play each game, hopefully, which team would set up and how we would win all 3 games. So he obviously had his idea about that. But, you know, we all know that football changes. If, you know, perhaps if I'd have scored a hat-trick in the final, in the FA Cup final, he might have thought that there's no way he can leave me out. You know, I scored one and played well and set up the other one. And in my thinking, I thought I had a chance of playing. So you can understand how I felt when I was told that I wouldn't be playing.
Then for the Champions League final, what did Ferguson say to you sort of before you came on?
He said to me at half-time that if the game stays 1-0, you'll be going on after 15 minutes. So make sure you're ready. So obviously I got myself ready.
Is it right that sort of in a selfish sort of way you sort of wanted it to just carry on how it was going so you could get on?
Exactly. I mean, it's very hard for football supporters to understand that, and it's a very selfish manner. But you know, I'm here sitting here now watching Manchester United in all these big games, and I'm a supporter now. I want the club to do well. That's where I am now. When you're an actual footballer, you want to play a part in it. So once he told me that at half time, I hoped that the game would stay the same for the next 15 minutes so that I could naturally play a part.
And sort of, what are your memories of that goal? Your goal?
Just remembering that it was, I didn't see the scoreboard go up with the 2 or 3 minutes left on the injury time, but when you see your goalkeeper coming up, you realise how little time there is left. You know you're into the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. You know, we needed to do something, and for it to see that big green jersey out the corner of my eye coming up and thinking, shit, it's getting a bit late now, you know. So when the ball came into the area from the corner, it went to the far post. Yorke like kind of half nodded it back in, and Effenberg tried to clear it from the 6-yard line, and he slashed at it, and he only got it to the edge of the area. And as it landed, as it was coming down, it was coming down on Giggs's right foot on the volley. It wasn't the best strike on Giggs's right foot volley. It came bobbling towards me, and I just had to help it on its way. Had a swing at it. It's not the best connection I've ever had either. Come off my ankle, off the sock of my ankle, and screwed into the bottom corner. I knew instinctively that I wasn't offside, but there was a fella on the other post came up to play offside, and as I hit the ball, it looked like I could have been offside. So as I knew I wasn't, because he came up as Giggsy hit it, and I swung and saw the ball hit the back of the net, and I thought to myself, I better just check that the linesman hasn't made a wrong call on this, and just looked over my shoulder over to the far side and saw that he was running back to the halfway line or standing still, whatever, I can't remember. He definitely didn't have his flag up, and it was the celebrations could start.
So how would you sort of describe that? How are you feeling at that moment when you slide in front of the fans?
Oh, it's just, you know, that's what dreams are made of. You're scoring in a Champions League final. It's like, wow, it's the things that you've dreamt of, you know, since watching Liverpool winning it in the 70s, you know, over and over again. You think, I'd love to be on that stage at some time in my life, and here you are, and then all of a sudden you're scoring a goal and you're celebrating with all those fans that have paid big money to come and watch you. And my family were in the stadium, as family and friends were in the stadium as well. And you know, it was, for all to be there, it was a great moment.
And then what were you thinking sort of at kickoff at 1-1, and then afterwards when you get a corner as well? Yeah,
I can remember going back and me and Ollie saying, you know, that's it, we're going to have extra time. We've got another half hour on this fantastic pitch and stadium, and, you know, this setting. It was just, if ever you're going to have a final, that's where you want it being played. It's like a gladiators arena if you haven't been there to play at the Nou Camp. And we thought we was going to have another half an hour, and little did we know. And a minute later, Ollie goes down the left wing and tries to take on Q4. And as as he tried to cross it, it's come off Kufo, gone for a corner, and I can see Bex running across now. And you can imagine how I feel. I'm 10 foot tall. I've just scored the equaliser, and it's like, right, I'm good in the air anyway. Let's see if I can score another one and put it in an area, Bex, where I'm going to be. And he did that. I made out to go to the far post, got across my man at the near post, and got up to head it in the near post. But I kind of instinctively knew that I was up a little bit too early. And I felt that if I had have headed it for the near post where I wanted it to go, it would have gone over the bar because I would have been underneath it a little bit. So the only thing I could do was to help it into an area where hopefully one of my teammates might be and that could finish it off. So that's exactly what I did. I flicked it into an area, and Ollie was there to hoist it into the roof of the net.
And then sort of after the full-time whistle, when you've made history, sort of how was that feeling at that moment?
Just so much jubilation right in front of the Man United supporters as well. We took the trophy down there and showed them. I think we was out there for about 45 minutes afterwards. It's probably the longest celebration I've ever seen or been part of. It was just surreal that we didn't want it to end. We knew we was in Barcelona and that we were having a night. If we knew that there would be a party that night. But there was no rush to get off of that fantastic stadium and pitch, and the celebrations were unbelievable.
I was just going to say, what was the celebrations like after the game?
We stayed at the Arts Hotel in Barcelona, all the family and friends there. I don't know how many people were at the party, but it was a big conference room downstairs in there. There must have been, I don't know, 250, maybe even 300 people there. Seemed like it, all family and friends, close families and friends, and all the people, all the staff from the football club. Just an amazing night before we got back onto the flight, and then the open top bus back in Deansgate. Wowza.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right, mate.
That's brilliant. Thanks for that. And nice to meet you.
And you.